This evening, first up, the gates open at the National Stadium. Guyana Festival 2026 kicks off today. 3 days of music, food, culture, and 60 years of independence pride. Kenny Lawrence, Adrian Dutchin, and thousands of Guyanese ready to celebrate. This is a Diamond Jubilee moment. Then electricity bill cuts in half. That is the promise behind the Wales Gas Energy project, and the Prime Minister says the first power hits the national grid before year end. Construction is back on track and the countdown has begun. Plus, working the night shift just got easier for parents across Guyana. The government is expanding its childcare centers to offer full overnight care so mothers and fathers can clock in knowing their children are safe and looked after. Meanwhile, the Dominican Republic wants a piece of Guyana's oil sector. Discussions are underway on investment in the Berbice Block as two countries deepen a partnership covering energy, agriculture, and petrochemicals. And after months of blackouts and fuel shortages that have brought daily life to a standstill, Cuba says it is willing to consider a $100 million aid offer from the United States, a small but significant opening between two longtime adversaries. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 15, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Ghana's 300 megawatt Wales Gas Energy project, the country's largest infrastructure development, is progressing steadily, with the government reaffirming its target of delivering the first power to the national grid by the end of 2026. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips said construction has accelerated in recent months, with contractors maintaining its commitment to meet key delivery milestones. He described the project as a transformative step for Ghana's energy future, intended to deliver long-term benefits to households and businesses. Once completed, the project will convert natural gas into electricity and is expected to cut electricity costs by up to 50%. It will also support the production of liquefied petroleum gas for domestic use, helping to reduce energy costs, strengthen energy security, and reduce dependence on imported fuels. Officials say the project will also improve the reliability and stability of Ghana's power supply. The government confirmed that outstanding contractual issues between the state and contractor Linseco Guyana Incorporated has been resolved, allowing construction to proceed without further legal delays. The development includes a power plant, gas processing facilities, transmission lines, substations, and a new national control center. Key milestones include first turbine power by the end of 2026, full gas turbine commissioning by early 2027, and completion of combined cycle operation by mid-2027. Beyond power generation, the Wales Development Zone is being developed into a major industrial hub with ammonia, urea, and liquefied petroleum gas facilities expected to boost agriculture, create jobs, and support long-term economic diversification and national development. On a different note, one of Ghana's most beloved cultural celebrations is making a triumphant return as the Guyana Festival 2026 opened its doors at the Guyana National Stadium today for 3 days of music, culture, food, and national pride. Running from May 15th to 17th under the theme Sound, Soul, and Taste, the festival marks Ghana's 60th independence anniversary, the Diamond Jubilee, and promises to be one of the biggest and most vibrant cultural events the country has seen in years. Minister of Tourism Susan Rodriguez said the festival will showcase the full breadth of Ghana's heritage through cultural villages, arts and craft displays, culinary experiences, poetry, drama, and live demonstrations. Highlights include an Amerindian village experience and the much anticipated Taste of Ghana Culinary Village, where the country's rich and diverse food culture will take center stage. On the entertainment front, music legend Kenny Lawrence headlines the Night of Legends concert, while 2026 Soca King Adrian Dutchin will bring the house down at the One Ghana Mega Concert on Saturday, May 17th. Tickets are priced at $1,000 for adults, with children under 12 entering free. Organizers have also reintroduced the popular Ghana Festival Passport, offering access to all 3 days of activities, along with entry into nightly prize draws. With thousands expected to descend on the National Stadium over the 3-day celebration. Guyana Festival 2026 promises to be a fitting tribute to 60 years of independence, loud, proud, and unmistakably Guyanese. In other news, parents working night shift will now have access to expanded childcare support as the government broadens its day and night care and early childhood development initiative to include full night care services for children. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vinay Prasad, made the announcement at the Anna Katerina Early Childhood Development Center in Region 3. The minister said the expanded service is aimed at helping parents who work evening and overnight shifts by providing a safe, nurturing environment staffed by trained caregivers.
So you can go to work on your shift and know that your children are safe in this beautiful environment.
Dr. Prasad explained that while the daycare program has already been operating successfully, an addition of night care will now allow parents to work with greater peace of mind, knowing their children are being cared for in a secure setting. In addition to childcare, the centers also focus on early childhood development through structured learning programs designed to help children achieve key developmental milestones. The Day and Night Care Initiative was first introduced in 2022 as part of the government's effort to support working families, empower women, and improve childcare services nationwide. Some of the facilities are at Anna Katerina Center, located on the west coast of Demerara in Region 3, Diamond Grove Center, located on the east bank of Demerara, Mocha Perseverance, the center is located on the east bank of Demerara, and Linden Center, Upper Demerara, Berbice, Region 10. Ghana's first day and night care and early childhood development center was commissioned at Anna Katerina in August of 2025, with additional centers now being opened across the country as the program continues to expand. Stick around when we return. Ghana and Dominican Republic strengthen cooperation, and construction worker busted trying to smuggle nearly 5 pounds of cannabis into Mazaruni prison.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Ghana and the Dominican Republic are deepening cooperation in energy, agriculture, tourism, and petrochemicals as both countries move to strengthen a partnership first established under a 2023 Memorandum of Understanding. According to a joint statement, the governments of Guyana and the Dominican Republic continue to advance collaboration through ongoing discussions involving both public and private sector actors, with a focus on expanding investments and regional economic integration. A key area of engagement is energy, where the Dominican Republic Refinería Dominicana de Petróleo S.A. is exploring potential investment opportunities within Ghana's oil and gas sector. Discussions include possible interest in Berbice Block, previously held by On Energy, alongside broader cooperation on regional energy security. Official says these engagements align with Ghana's long-term strategy to strengthen its position as a regional energy hub while supporting wider Caribbean energy resilience and development. The statement also highlighted growing private sector collaboration between the two countries, particularly in agriculture, energy, and petrochemicals, with efforts underway to form partnerships with investment consortium. Both governments expressed satisfaction with the progress made under the 2023 MOU framework and reaffirmed their commitment to advancing joint initiative aimed at boosting trade, investment, and economic opportunities. They added that the strengthened partnership is expected to deliver mutual benefits for both nations while supporting sustainable development and closer regional cooperation in key economic sectors. Moving on, a construction contractor working inside the Mazaruni prison compound got more than he bargained for on Wednesday evening when sharp-eyed prison officers intercepted his attempt to smuggle over 2 kilograms of cannabis into the facility. Mashanu Sinclair, a construction worker attached to Griffin's engineering company, was stopped at the Mazaruni prison checkpoint around 8:30 p.m. on May 14 upon returning to the compound. A search of his bag revealed close to 5 pounds of cannabis carefully hidden inside. Authorities said it is enough to compromise the facility's safety and security seriously. Sinclair was immediately arrested and escorted to the Bartica police station, where he is expected to face criminal charges. He is scheduled to appear in court today. Director of Prisons Nicholas Elliott was unequivocal in his response, warning that anyone attempting to smuggle contraband into Guyana's prisons will be caught and brought before the courts. He commended the alertness of the officers on duty, whose vigilance enabled the interception. Contraband in prisons affect safety and security of staff, prisoners, and the public, and persons must not participate in such activities, Elliott stated. The incident serves as a stark reminder that prison remains a high-risk environment for contraband smuggling, and that those who attempt it, whether visitors, contractors, or staff, face serious criminal consequences. Don't go away after the break. U.S. President wraps up China visit. Trump says deal is made and both leaders agree on Iran. And war in Iran, U.S. denies Tehran still maintains missile sites.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominican tonight. Dynamite and clashes rock Bolivia as miners demand the president's resignation. Cuba signals openness to a U.S. aid offer amid crippling blackouts. Trump wraps up his China visit claiming deals on trade and Iran. And Washington says it can reopen the Strait of Hormuz by force if needed. We will begin in Bolivia. Explosion rocked La Paz, Bolivia Thursday as miners clash with police demanding President Rodrigo Paz's resignation just 6 months into his term. Protesters threw dynamite sticks while calling for greater access to fuel and explosives and reviewed mining contracts. Roadblocks have caused shortages of food and medical supplies. The government said it will remain open to dialogue amid the country's worsening economic and fuel crisis. Cuba's government says it is willing to review a $100 million aid proposed by the United States as the country struggles through a worsening energy crisis. Months of a U.S. fuel embargo have led to widespread power outages across the island, bringing daily life to a near standstill. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Hundreds of frustrated residents of Havana took to the streets banging on pots and pans to demand electricity. The largest island in the Caribbean is sinking into darkness as never before due to rolling blackouts.
We are demanding the right to have electricity. We have gone more than 40 hours without electricity. I live in a community where there are many elderly people, many of them bedridden. There are many children. Food is going bad inside the refrigerators, the little food that can be obtained.
As temperatures rise, so too do tempers, as many Cuban families seek relief from the heat outdoors. Cuba is entering its 5th month of a U.S.-imposed blockade of fuel, needed to run hospitals, petrol stations, and the country's electrical grid, which runs on oil. The Fuel and Energy Minister says that Cuba is now out of fuel altogether, that oil reserves sent by Russia at the end of March have run out. More often than not, protests like this lead to police crackdowns and arrests, but not this time.
As long as it is a peaceful protest like the one today, well, that's fine, because we are demanding our rights.
But there could be some relief in sight. Thursday, Cuba announced that on the request of the U.S. government, CIA Director John Radcliffe had arrived in Havana to meet with his Cuban counterpart. The official Communist Party newspaper added that the meeting aimed to contribute to a political dialogue during these times of complex bilateral ties. But that's not all. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has renewed an offer of $100 million in aid to Cuba on the condition that the assistance be distributed by the Catholic Church, bypassing the central government.
I don't think we're going to be able to change the trajectory of Cuba as long as these people are in charge in that regime.
Cuba's foreign minister has responded that his government is open to hearing the details of the offer. But if the White House insists on political reform, it's highly unlikely that there will be a deal. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.
U.S. President Donald Trump ended his state visit to China, hosted by President Xi Jinping, claiming trade deals and agreement on Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. However, no major breakthroughs were reached on trade, tech, or Taiwan, with both sides stressing dialogue for stability. Al Jazeera Alan Fisher reports.
The final public event of Donald Trump's China trip, and a rare honour for a foreign leader, a visit to Yongnanhai Gardens, the seat of power in China, a secretive compound where Xi Jinping lives and works, an honour that impressed the US president. Both sides diplomatically calling the delayed talks a success. Trump securing what his side described as huge trade deals, particularly on agricultural products.
This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries.
And saying both countries are on the same page in Iran.
We feel very similar in Iran. We want that to end. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open. We're closing it now. They closed it, then we closed it on top of them. But we want the straits open, and we want them to get it ended because it's a crazy thing. They're a little bit crazy, and that's no good. Can't have it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
But there's no sign of a Chinese commitment to use its influence in reopening the Strait of Hormuz, of getting Iran to the negotiating table.
There's no need for this war to continue, and it could have been avoided at the beginning. Finding a solution sooner rather than later is good for the US and Iran, and all the countries of the region.
The Chinese say Donald Trump's short visit was important in creating constructive strategic stability, a broad concept which should deal with any problems between the world's two biggest economies and often rivals. Taiwan, Iran, tariffs, they still hang over the relationship, but it's a basis for the two leaders to work from at their 3 further meetings this year. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
The head of the U.S. Central Command told lawmakers that Washington has the military capability to reopen the Strait of Hormuz if required, as tensions with Iran remain high following recent joint U.S.-Israeli strikes. Al Jazeera's Patty Culhane reports.
At the outset, I want to thank Admiral Cooper and
As Admiral Brad Cooper sat before this Senate committee, he painted a positive picture of what the U.S. military strikes have accomplished in its war with Iran.
The Navy likely will not get back to its previous size for a full generation.
The Trump administration has repeatedly claimed these attacks decimated Iran's military and its capabilities. But there are new questions about that after the New York Times reported that a U.S. intelligence assessment says Iran continues to operate 30 of the 33 missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz, and that it retains 70% of its mobile launchers across the country, reporting Iran still has 70% of its pre-war missile stockpiles. Admiral Cooper was asked about that report, which he called inaccurate.
I think what also is not taken into consideration is more than just the numbers. It's the command and control that's been shattered. It's a significant degradation in capability. And it's the lack of any ability to then produce any missiles or drones on the back end.
Many Republican senators followed suit, putting the focus on what they say Iran can't build in the future, no longer what's already been destroyed.
Damaging or destroying over 85% of its ballistic missile, drone, and naval defense industrial base and 82% of its air defense missile systems. That's pretty damn good.
Democrats have expressed concern about the cost of the war, which the Pentagon says is around $29 billion, but also what it's done to U.S. military stockpiles. And Admiral Cooper put a number on that, saying that the U.S. has used 13,629 munitions in its war with Iran. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera on Capitol Hill.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day forecast. And that's it for the 2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other, and do have a wonderful weekend.